everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Calysta and I like to talk about spirituality, self-growth, and things I've learned on my path based on my own experiences. How is everyone doing? I feel like I'm not talking specifically to you guys, so let me know how you're doing. I also just want to say that the energy lately has been crazy. I know there's a lot of people that don't think that like the planets and the moon and astrology and stuff like that has really anything to do with us, but as I've said before, everything is literally connected. Source made the whole universe, and so we are all connected in some sort of way, and of course the energy is going to be shifting. But also, it was just a full moon. Hold on, it was a blood moon, right? And an eclipse. Yeah, there was literally a lunar eclipse, and I am just saying that lately, or it could just be because I'm a woman, which is another thing. A lot of men don't like to be in tune with their own energy. I don't know. I'm just saying this video has a lot to do with the emotions coming up, but I don't want to just blame that. I'm just saying it's been crazy out here. If you know, you know. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about my experience so far when it comes to controlling emotions and learning how to do that and understanding the deep-rooted causes of the emotions and why they get out of control sometimes. Or all the time. I don't know what you're going through, but I say let's get through it together. I must say that controlling your emotions when you have never been shown or taught how to is extremely challenging. At least it has been for me, especially if you grew up in a house where your parents didn't really guide you through your emotions, or you didn't really feel comfortable sharing your thoughts and feelings with them, or if your own parents or family or whatever didn't have a positive or constructive way of dealing with their own emotions and supporting each other in a healthy way. Something I want to bring up is how the further you go when it comes to controlling your emotions is the harder it gets, which sounds retrogressive, but let me explain. Becoming aware of yourself and your emotions is the first step in breaking any cycle that you may be dealing with, whether that be depression, anxiety, anger, or any negative mental or emotional tendencies that you face. Of course, it can become very easy for you to know what you're feeling, when you're feeling, after some recognition and self-reflection. Finding ways to cope and navigate these feelings is where it can become a little bit difficult, but where it gets even more challenging is finding the root cause of what's initiating the emotion to come up and take control. The ego is also very important here because it is another barrier, because your ego just wants to do what you're comfortable with, and as crazy as it sounds, the way you react to things emotionally is your body's comfortable way of reacting to something or dealing with something. So if something hard happens in your personal life, say, and your way of coping with it is destructive or getting really angry or sad, that's just because that's how you've been doing it for so long, and that's just initially how you are coping with whatever happens. Again, in all my videos, this is just my point of view and what I have learned for myself and whatnot. So, wow, okay. The sun is beautiful. There's also another thing. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. There's a part of me that wants this emotion to take over. Have you ever been like super sad, and so you just want to make yourself more sad? You like listen to sad music and you lay in bed and blah blah blah. And of course I've said that you need to let yourself feel your feelings, you know, and if you do need to wallow in your feelings, definitely do it, but only give yourself like a certain amount of time to do it. Like if I'm sad about something, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes, whatever, to literally just be so sad about it, and then I need to move on to acceptance. And that's just what works for me, so that I am not just like depressed all the time, you know, because we need to find better ways to move on with our lives than just crying about everything. So anyways, there's like a part of me that like wants to get get sad, wants to get angry, whatever. We need to let our energy out in a better way, and we can do that through understanding and knowledge of ourselves. So for me, I'm past the challenges of recognizing my emotions and ways to cope with them, but why it has gotten harder is because of how deep I need to go within myself and the level of self-awareness I need to have to know exactly what causes that emotion to take over. What deeply rooted belief, habit, or repeated thought could be causing that emotion? For example, a really big issue that I've had personally lately, I mean, I've dealt with it my whole life, but especially lately, it's been bad, is anger.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Which is not the only thing I've dealt with. I've dealt with depression, anxiety. I know I can seem really chill and accepting and caring, especially if you know me personally. Like of course, you know, I'm very kind, chill. I can't get crazy as everyone can, but you know, it almost seems like the more of that I am, then the more intense and prevalent my anger has gotten, or like just super irritable. And this is why I think it gets harder, because the more happy you are, then when times are not so happy, it becomes bigger than what it actually is, because you're happy all the time. So for me, it's taken me a very long time to get to the place where I am, and I want to emphasize that controlling your emotions and also just like knowing yourself, it takes so much time. So give yourself grace and time to figure this out and practice everything that you need to become a better person and to be more aware of yourself and your body. But yeah, why I think it gets harder is because on this journey to bettering yourself, goddamn, you encounter new challenges that you haven't faced before, that require knowledge that you haven't learned before. As an adult, I feel like we tend to feel like we have it all figured out, or that we should have it all figured out. But from the day you're born to the day that you die, you're learning and growing the entire time. There's literally endless knowledge to be acquired, and that doesn't mean that things are gonna get easier. It means things are gonna get harder because you're learning more, you're growing more, leveling up more. Life only gets harder, but you gotta get stronger. And you can get stronger through practice and through growth. We just need to find ways to be able to handle everything that comes our way as we grow. When you push yourself to grow and adapt to challenges, then what was challenging before becomes easier. Then leveling up means it's going to get harder, because if it isn't challenging, then it isn't growth. We don't grow and challenge ourselves by doing easy things. So bringing this back to emotions, and controlling an emotion you've never been able to before is obviously a pretty big challenge, and exceptionally difficult if you get to the spiral point where it's really hard to stop it from going. But also why it gets arduous is asking yourself why you feel that way. Like, actually, instead of getting lost in the emotion, I feel angry because this happened. But something I recently discovered about myself is I feel angry because I have a need within me to control everything, fix things myself without help, which I've always been that way. Ever since I was little, I wanted to do things by myself. I didn't want any help. And I also have a problem with perfectionism. So these are things that are prevalent in like so many different areas of my life. I just wasn't correlating it to my anger specifically on a deep enough level. And I'm sure I need to go deeper. Like, inner child work is especially important, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, it's all connected. Your whole body, mind, spirit, emotions, everything is all connected, and that's why it's so important to take care of every single aspect of your life. You can't neglect one area of your life and expect everything else to be how it should or good or whatever, because this part is failing. Just like your whole body is one whole unit, therefore you need to be taking care of everything. So yeah, going back to the inner child thing, anger was displayed to me as a child. I remember when I was little, and both of my parents would get either irritated or angry pretty easily. The older we got and like later in life, they've gotten much better. But especially my dad, I would see him get really angry when he was trying to fix something and he couldn't figure it out, or he couldn't do it, or it wasn't working. He would throw things, he would get really like fucking pissed, you know? And my mom, she would be like fucking vacuuming and she's like, nobody ever cleans the house. Throwing my parents under the bus right now. They're so amazing. I love my parents so much. If they're watching this, I love you. But anyways, just growing up like that, I have noticed like major tendencies with myself when things aren't going my way, or when things are really inconvenient, or if I'm trying to do something that I want to do by myself and I'm struggling and I can't do it, I refuse to ask for help, and that's just me. I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at asking for help. I'm getting better at giving myself grace and understanding why I get so angry, and telling myself it's okay. I can't control everything. Everything isn't mine to fix, and that's okay. That's just a part of the journey, is just learning things about yourself. Both of my parents, I'm sure they both learned their reactions and emotional patterns through their parents. They were just displaying it in the way that they knew how to. Me and you, if you're watching this, you probably want to break the cycle. And because we are breaking generational cycles, it's really fucking hard. Give yourself grace, like I've said before, and ask for help. Take a deep breath and know that everything is going to be okay. That's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what emotions you have a hard time dealing with or controlling, or challenges that you face, or what your parents did when you were younger that you've noticed a pattern within yourself, because it's most definitely prevalent to your life and your path forward. Thank you for joining me today, guys. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.